Yeah.
Oh, he's not on here. And there
Where
we go.
did you go? Where did you go? I was dancing. I was waiting for you to come in.
You're doing the mouse?
I was doing the hey, do the mouse, old Soupy Sales.
Soupy Sales, yes.
How you doing, Dr. Chris? How was Christmas?
It was good, man. It was very, very relaxing. I had a huge party at a concert at my house. Like a concert at my house on Friday night. So that was like my Christmas
Thanks
celebration.
for inviting me.
Sure. Drive all the way from Philly. It's fantastic. Yeah. It was fun. It was super exciting. It was really fun. I live DJ'd and I hosted, DJ'd and hosted and had some rap artists come do live performances, and it was like big, and it was fun, and
I could have done my Barry Manilow rap.
Very nice, very nice. So that was my Friday night, and then Monday just relaxed for most of the day. It was a day off for me, and I don't have much of that, and so I took full advantage of it. Of course, we did the presents in the morning, and I cooked my family brunch in the morning, and for the rest of the day I just chilled, really just allow my kiddos to have fun with their gifts and just chill. It was fun.
Big announcement here, by the way. This is our final live unscripted.
It is it's good to be back. Yes, of the year. Of the year. Not final period, but final of the year. This show.
All you fans, all year.
Yes, Bill and I were just talking about how much you guys have supported the show, and it's been a really fun show. Yes. Everybody. That's a general. Just like mankind, you know what I mean? Just means everybody, you know what I mean? So, just everyone just supporting the show. Before we go into our, of course we do every single week, we discuss pro wrestling's hot topics. And of course we take your super chats, we take your questions, but mostly, primarily super chats if you want on the screen, and we'll poke over and see time permitting what's over there for us to talk about. But if you want your comment on the screen, guaranteed that would be via super chat. But listen, before we go into what you want to talk about, so I was prepping for the show. I have 3 shows on Tuesdays. I have
Wait a minute, I have some
Unscripted.
money for the super chat.
Oh, that sounds good. What question do you have?
I asked you already about Christmas. But
Oh, well, yeah. Well, there you go. So I have Unscripted, then I have Pancakes and Power Sam's, and I have the after party for PNP. So I get prepped for all shows. Takes me a couple hours, and so guess what? I decided to watch while I was prepping for the shows tonight. I decided to watch AWA Superclass 3. I was going on YouTube. I'm a big true crime guy. You and I have talked about this. I actually have true crime on my personal channel and psychology from a psychological standpoint. We talked about this while we were roommates for the weekend of SummerSlam, and I told you about my true crime. And I have a criminal justice master's degree, actually. And I was looking to just look at some true crime stuff and psychology stuff while I was prepping for my shows, and in the algorithms pop up AWA Superclass, and I've seen bits and pieces of Superclass 3. This is Superclass 3. I've seen mostly 1 and 2, but this was
what year are we talking about?
This was 88. So Superclass 3, and so that was the first time I've watched it in its entirety. 35 years ago, Superclass 3. Tonight was the first night I watched it entirely. It was really cool. If I had time in my day, if I had time to make a video about it, there were so many really cool factors about Superclass 3 of like, oh man, this guy's there, this guy's there. And so about an hour into the pay-per-view, the event, there was a very handsome fella who was interviewed, and he announced the PWI Most Inspirational Award of the Year, the Wrestler of the Year award, going to Jerry King Lawler. And who was that guy live on the Superclass 3 pay-per-view that presented the award to Lawler? Was this guy right here, Mr. Bill Apter.
Me, yeah. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yes, indeed. I said, "Oh, that's my friend. That's my friend, Bill."
I didn't know you back then. I would have said hello to you on the air.
You would have, yes. Hello, future Dr. Chris.
Was that Lawler and Kerry Von Erich?
It was. Yes.
Oh, I'm glad you. Do me a favor. Bring your face like right up to the camera for a minute. Would you mind doing that?
Camera's further.
So you know where we're going with that.
Yes.
Dr.
That was
Chris, before we went on the air here.
Yep.
I had mentioned to Dr. Chris, and I tweeted out and Facebooked out, that I had done a very small review that was on the Sportskeeda Instagram channel last week, that my feelings on the movie The Iron Claw, the story of the Von Erich family, tragic story. And people kept saying, well, can you give us some more information on it? So, Dr. Chris, are you planning to see the movie?
Yes. But it's okay. You can spoil it for me. Okay.
No, I'm not going to spoil anything for you. Before I go into my hot and not on it, do you have any particular questions from feedback you've heard elsewhere?
So MJF was supposed to have a bigger role, but he ended up doing a little cameo, right? More of a cameo.
It was not even a cameo; it was a cam.
It wasn't even that much. It was just a cam.
Kevin Von Erich, Zac Efron is outside the ring in a tag team match. And he's going like this, like he wants to tag Lance Von Erich. Lance goes after pinning the guy, and that's it. He's gone. No dialogue.
Wow.
At all. MJF was supposed to. They filmed a lot of MJF. And he looked bodily. He looked very good in the 12 seconds he was online. But I'm wondering why he wound up on the cutting room floor. Could it have been something legally with him in it with AEW? I don't know. If anyone out there knows for sure why, because if it were me and I was AEW, you know, they've been making a big fuss over the movie. They've had Ross and Marshall and Kevin on the past few shows of both Rampage and Dynamite and Collision.
Yeah.
But for some reason, he's only in it for 10 seconds. So I don't know why they wound up on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, that was really interesting. And to continue the question that you asked me, I also heard there was a lot of criticisms about people not liking Flair's character.
Oh my God. When you talk, oh my God. When you talk about hot and not, this is worse than not.
Really? Was it that bad?
There was an actor, and I don't have his name in front of me, you could probably Google it, who played the Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Yeah.
If I were the Nature Boy Ric Flair, I would be very upset.
Oh, man.
They could have picked people that could imitate. This was only, it wasn't an in the ring thing. This was a promo of what Ric Flair was going to do to Kevin Von Erich.
Aaron Dean
Kerry Von Erich at Texas Stadium. The guy comes out with the blonde wig and the whole bit. Let me tell you something. Whoa, nothing. No, it was embarrassing.
That was
people in the theater. When I went, people in the theater at the screening that RF Video had put on the night before in the Chamonix Mall in Pennsylvania, people in the theater were gasping when they saw that. Wow. The actor who played Harley Race could kind of get away with it. He looked a little bit like Trevor Murdoch, but it wasn't. But the Ric Flair character was a total embarrassment.
Wow.
It's one of these things where you watch a movie about pro wrestling and they want to make it like it's all not real or anything, and they have these outlandish characters. Flair's character back then, the real Ric Flair, was a tough, this is what's going to happen to you, Kerry Von Erich. This guy's like this, and he's going, woo, and let me tell you something. It wasn't bad.
That's horrible, man.
I was embarrassed for Ric Flair.
Wow. Yeah.
But I wasn't the only
people were saying that in the socials. I'm on Facebook a lot, and there's a lot of people through my timeline in wrestling groups and stuff like that. Like, it was a general consensus that Flair's character depiction was just absolutely horrible.
Horrible. Now remember that I was close friends with the Von Erich family. David and I used to talk once or twice a week when I was working at the magazines. We'd call each other regularly. I was friends with his wife, with Fritz, Doris, the mom, and of course all the brothers. But David and I were closest. Craig Peters, who was one of the main editors at the PWI company, when David died, I wrote a story that Craig said was the best thing I had ever written, because I was at the funeral there, and I was at the church and looked up and saw all the people up in the balcony, just tears everywhere. It was so emotional. They didn't dwell a lot on that. The actor that played Fritz Von Erich was magnificent. I actually thought if Fritz was brought back to life, this was him. It was that good. Kerry Von Erich, the choice of actor who played him, looked a little like him facially, but Kerry Von Erich was cut. He was built. This actor was flat.
Really?
There's no definition in his body.
Do you think that they were doing those things? Because I've never heard of Aaron Dean Eisenberg. I've never heard of him. That's the person who played Ric Flair.
I had neither. But
do you think that they were doing that for budget reasons?
No. The actor was a very famous actor. Again, I don't have that information.
I don't know who
he portrayed him okay, but he didn't. But Zac Efron, who played Kevin Von Erich, looked like the body of Kerry Von Erich. Zac Efron should have been Kerry Von Erich. He looked like him. He was built like him. it was great, but it miscasting. Mike Von Erich was kind of skinny and kind of bland. Chris Von Erich, the only people are saying that they didn't bring him up at all. They did not in the actual movie. However, in the credits toward the end, they did mention Jack Jr. And they did mention my phone buzzing here. And they did. We're live, folks. This is unscripted. Let me just see if it's from.
That's right. We're
No,
unscripted.
it's not from our bosses here. Jack Jr. was mentioned and Chris was mentioned in the credits there. I can understand, this was not a documentary. This is a movie about
like a biopic.
No, not at all. It said
not
based upon actual incidents, inspired by actual incidents. It was not a biopic at all. Wow. If it was, it would have been Kevin Von Erich's biopic because it's centered around he and his wife Pam. Do so much of it. But no, absolutely. If this is a
it didn't give any history of the Von Erichs or Kevin or anything like that. Like what was the start of?
They did, but it was the tragedies that were the main thing, the main plot of showing what happened here. No, it wasn't a biographical at all, and that's why it says inspired by a true story, which gives them license to do whatever they wanted to do with this. I could see why the Hollywood version of this thing didn't put Chris in, because by the time Mike died, you're sitting down in your seat and you're going like, oh my God, I don't think I could take another death.
Yep.
Really? Yeah, it was that bad. One of the big things that
shorter, right? He was a shorter guy.
Mike? Chris, yes. Yeah. He was very young. The deaths were portrayed in a way that they, for example, when after David died and they had the night parade of champions with thousands and thousands of people at Texas Stadium, you see like Kerry going through something that would be the stadium entrance, but then it's not there. And if I remember right, Doris, the mother, was in the movie was watching it from home. If I remember correctly, and please, if anyone remembers this, I was there at ringside with Craig Peters from PWI. And when we went backstage afterwards, I believe Doris was there. Yeah. So,
wow. Yeah.
So I'm going to say what I said on the original review, that it was one of the most miserable but well done tragedy movies I've ever seen.
How long was it?
Long. It was about 2 hours and 15 minutes, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
By the way, the AMC theaters that showed it here in Pennsylvania, I got to give them a thumbs down for 28 minutes of previews.
Yeah, that's starting to become normal nowadays, man. About 20.
Nothing I want to see. We did watch it with Mr. and Mrs. Blue Meanie and Craig Peters.
Nice.
We did a Q&A afterwards, and most of the people, when I brought up these points that I brought up tonight, all agreed. They all thought Zac Efron should have been Kerry.
Yeah, interesting. Well, I plan on watching it. But I heard about the Flair stuff, and man, if you're supposed to depict the Nature Boy Ric Flair, you gotta depict the Nature Boy Ric Flair, man. You can't just half butt that, man. You can't go half.
You know what it reminded me of?
What's that?
When I first heard the audio book of Dusty Rhodes' biography, my name is Dusty Rhodes, and I'm here and I was like, oh my God, this is like the same thing. It was a very bad. They could have gotten 1,000 different people.
Yeah.
They could have hired you.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
It's your boy, Chris, Dr. Chris.
I like it.
Yeah, but now, through all the years that I knew the Von Erichs, and I talked to Kevin like a week before I saw the movie. I promised him I would reach out after the movie and probably, do an after chat with him, but I haven't done it yet because I don't know how I feel about it. He told me he had very little, if anything, to do with this movie. The guy that was in charge of the whole writing and everything, the screenplay, and again, I don't know his name off the top of my head, but if Kevin wouldn't have agreed to start, he called Kevin, from what I understand, to tell him what was going to go on. But if Kevin would have said, well, I don't approve of this, they were going to make the movie anyway.
I might need to text Holly and bring her back on the show and interview her.
Who's that?
Holly Von Erich.
Who is Holly Von Erich?
Carrie's daughter.
I'm sorry.
Carrie's daughter.
Oh, you mean Lacey?
No. I'm talking about Holly. Holly's Lacey's sister.
Lacey's sister?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know Holly. I'm going to see if we can bring Kevin on here next week, if possible.
Yeah.
But you need to see it. And again, the wrestling fan who sees this is going to have the inaccuracies in their mind before they step into that theater. The general public who knows nothing about wrestling, it's a movie.
Yeah. Did it depict the Von Erich curse accurately?
Yeah. I mean, Kevin kept talking to his wife Pam about the curse. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
You know what? One of Kevin's things that he told me prior to the movie, 2 or 3 weeks prior to the movie, was that he did not want his father depicted as a bastard, as a hard taskmaster, so to say. And again, I knew Fritz. The boys were not just the children of, but they worked for the company. So it's that relationship where any company that is owned by the parents or the parent and the children and the relatives work for them, there's two sides to this. There's the business side and the personal side. And sometimes they mix and not very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it is out in theaters now for everyone to watch, and I plan on watching it and doing my review. Looking forward to see how it turns out. It would be cool if we did bring a Von Erich. I interviewed.
Did you watch World Class, by the way, at all when it was on?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So what was? I need a Tic Tac break here. So what was some of the things that you saw in World Class, some of the Von Erich matches? Is there anything you remember in particular beside the claw?
Beside the claw, I remember the Freebird turn, man. I remember it was Kerry Von Erich versus Ric Flair cage match, and Michael Hayes was the special guest referee. That's right.
Did you see that?
And Terry Bam Bam Gordy was out in the outside the cage, and it was an interesting turn because Hayes wanted to help Kerry. Kerry didn't want his help, and he turned on Kerry, and then Terry Gordy did the gate swing, the fence swing gimmick, the cage swing gimmick, and that was the start of the Freebird versus Von Erich rivalry, man. So
this was given to me by Jimmy Papa, who wrote the music to Bad Street USA.
Very nice.
They gave this to me in 1987, and I wore it to the premiere.
Nice.
Yeah. Very good memories.
I remember. Yeah, so that was one of the things I remembered. I remembered when of course, I was a huge Kerry Von Erich. I was a Kerry Von Erich mark, man.
When he became Texas Tornado, or when he was in World Class?
Before, yeah, I was a kid, but I remember him beating Flair for the title. He only had it for a few weeks though, but he was still, he still beat him for the NWA World Champion. I was at David Von Erich's memorial show, I believe. That he beat Ric Flair.
I was there.
Oh, nice. I remember that. I remember a bunch of stuff, man. I was a huge World Class fan. I remember because Fritz Von Erich was a major heel before World Class, and then he became a huge babyface.
Yeah, he came in as a Nazi when he was, at the beginning of his career. And it's funny that the dad played a Nazi, and yet the Von Erichs became the biggest smash great wrestlers in Israel. Thousands of people would wait for them at the airport. They absolutely loved them.
Really cool. All right, let us go lightning round. Of course, like I said, I can't guarantee your question being asked and accept super chats. Let's see here.
Super chat. And by the way, you fans who are watching this live, if you saw the movie, chime in here.
Yeah. What do you think? Super chats.
I like that.
Thank you. All right. Let's see here. So I heard a Big House show night at MSG. Drew 15,000. CM Punk defeated Dominic Mysterio. That was CM Punk's first match in MSG in 10 years. And so, so Dominic Mysterio, that was a good person for CM Punk to.
By the way, MSG, Madison Square Garden, not the additive to food.
Not the additive. No.
Right.
The most popular sports venue in the nation. Dare I say, one of the most popular in the world.
My home when I was growing up.
Yes,
indeed. I started my career once a month.
You took a lot of pics from the mags there. So, so 15,000, man. That's actually pretty cool. And
sell out.
I was told that. I was sent a video from Kevin Owens doing something there, and so it was really interesting. I get wrestling fans send me stuff all the time, and so I did see a little snippet of the MSG show.
Back in the day, they used to draw 21 to 22,000 because they didn't have this elaborate setup with the runway and everything.
Yeah.
They held a lot more.
I believe it was. I think it was 2008's Royal Rumble. I'm big on trivia.
I know you are.
John Cena, I believe, made his return in 2008 and won the Royal Rumble. Let's see. Let's see if I'm right. I believe it was John Cena at MSG. Yes.
I like how he asks himself his own trivia question.
I'm happy that I remember that. Yeah. So John Cena came back, made his return. He was supposed to be tore his pec, I believe. And he came back in like 3 or 4 months. He was supposed to be gone for a lot longer than that. But the setup for the Royal Rumble 2008 was really weird. The ramp was, the aisleway was really short, and it was just kind of surrounded by fans, and it was kind of like an underground type of feel to it. And it was just short. The ramp was really short.
The best one that I used to love was when I used to shoot the matches at Maple Leaf Garden in Toronto. They had a ramp that went over the fans high up that went right to the ring.
I remember that.
That's great.
I remember the ramp with like, it was like kind of like an elevated ramp. They did it in WCW a lot too, just to kind of like
right.
I think one of the last questions I want to talk about, any predictions on the WrestleMania 41 location. I think that was
my house.
Philly? No,
No,
Philly.
my house.
Oh,
in
so it's going to be
My
in
basement.
Philly in your house. So Philly for 40, and then Apter's
Apter's Alley.
basement, Apter's Alley at 41. Okay,
Yes.
sounds good.
Yeah. We can see. How many can we see? 12 people.
12 people. Very
Yeah,
nice.
and the rest goes on Peacock.
A capacity crowd.
Indeed.
What do you think? What do you think? 41. What would you like to see WrestleMania 41?
Oh, it could be in. They could do it in England.
I don't see an international mania.
Why not? Why not?
Travel.
Because AEW, as you know, they're going back to the United Kingdom. So time for WWE to say, look, we're doing it better and bigger.
I don't think that's a good idea for AEW to go back to the UK, by the way.
How about Ohio?
Oh, I would love it. So if you think about like, so if you think about, actually, I think SummerSlam is going to be in Cleveland this year or next year for 24. So I mean that's a skip for me. So I plan on being there. If you know for media, but you know what I would like. So if you think about WrestleMania locations, real quick before we close up, if you think of WrestleMania locations, you got to make it somewhere that has a main airport. So if you think about like it, you have to have like convention centers for like the access and stuff like that, WrestleCons, and you have to make it as travel accessible as possible. So somewhere to go. If you notice WrestleManias, it's somewhere that has like main airports. Like it's not in like smaller towns.
Yankee Stadium,
and it has like a big stadium in it too.
Yankee Stadium.
So New York. So it was in Jersey, New York, New Jersey. It's been there. New Orleans. It's been there. How about like a Minnesota or a St. Louis? I was in St. Louis. I don't think has many ever been in St. Louis? I don't think so. I don't think so. How about like what's somewhere that it's been what's somewhere WrestleMania has never been?
Well, they're very big right now on doing
domestically, I should say,
major shows overseas. They're going to Australia. I have a feeling they're going to do a WrestleMania in Europe.
So let's think about this. Let's talk about like what's a domestic, or what's a national place, national big city that WrestleMania has never been, that they should have it at. They've never been in St. Louis. To my knowledge, never been in Minneapolis. I know that the weather is an issue, but the weather is cold in New York too. So I mean, it's Midwest.
Well, cold, but if you're going toward like Minnesota and Nebraska and all those places, you may be dealing with snow unless there's a covered.
Yeah, I mean, thing. You can always have a.
I can't really think of something off the top of my head where it hasn't been.
Never been. What do y'all think, SK Nation? Put that for people. That's your homework for the comment section. Who's watching this? Go ahead and put that in the comment section, and also if those who are watching this archive, put that in the comment section too. What big city would you want WrestleMania to be at that it's never been before? So that's your homework for the viewers to put in the comment section. Also, be sure to like, share.
They did Vegas. They did Vegas.
They did They did Paradise for 9. So that's like outskirts of Vegas. That was WrestleMania 9. So so they did Vegas basically. So yeah. I mean that's I mean they did LA, of course. San Francisco Bay Area was 31. That was when Sting was there. Did Florida a bunch of times. Did New York, of course.
You just mentioned LA. Congratulations to LA Knight for going back to his hometown of Hagerstown, Maryland. And getting the key to the city. Nice. Congratulations to MJF for getting into the Jewish Athletes Hall of Fame. So good ending to the year for for all of us.
Congratulations.
Really. Yeah.
Congratulations. Yeah. All right. So that's your homework for SK Nation. That would be, where should they have it at? They've had it at Texas a bunch of times. 32 was Dallas.
Where do you want to see it? To come up with something, someplace it's never been domestically in the United States.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right?
Never been.
That's
Never
homework.
been. Big city. Big city though. Let's make it like realistic. You know what I mean? Like so you can't say like Cheyenne, Wyoming, because
Metropolis.
Yeah,
Gotham City.
Gotham City. I think Gotham City is where it is. So absolutely. So sounds good. All right. So
we'll see you next year.
So this guy right here is
Bill Apter. That's me. And this guy over there, I keep mixing this up. So.
At
Apter One Wrestling. But the homework for Sportskeeda Wrestle Binge is to get our Twitter handles underneath our names.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. All right. I am Dr. Chris, and this is UnSKripted, ladies and gentlemen. Your tagline is,
we'll see you. Take the rest of it.
At the matches. My tagline is, so since I'm taking the rest of yours, you got to do my gimmick too. So here you go. So long. See you.